Hey guys, okay, in this one I'm going to show you how I mounted the transducer on my trolling motor. I got a Minn Kota Terrova. It's an old one, so it's the factory transducer here. It's not very clear. I've got the right wires, the cord stuff to make it work. I've tried it. I don't like it. So I mounted and this may be the wrong one, and I'm going to be getting a new transducer for the trolling motor here because I ultimately ruined this one. I ran into a rock, got a little too shallow. But I use this one here. It's worked for me for quite a while, and up until I ran it into a rock. So I'll be upgrading and putting a new one on there. But for the time being, you know, that's what I'm going to use for right now. It still works a little bit. Not the greatest, but what I wanted to show you guys was a couple of tips that I have when mounting these on this type of trolling motor. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do this because the other one I had a Minn Kota Power Drive V2 on my other boat, and I had to run the cord up and around this housing. So whenever I would turn the motor, the cord would get wrapped here and it'd get twisted. And then if you had too much cord out, it just get, if you're in shallow weeds get hung up on it. It was a mess. But on this version of Minn Kota Terrova, I'm not sure if it's on all of them. I feel like it is, but I don't know. On mine, I have this little slot right here. It's only on one side. So I ran my transducer cable through that slot there. And of course it goes down through there and then down here and right there. Works very well, very seamless, and I haven't had any issues with it other than one. So right here where my fingernail is, that's the part that would come up and hit the bottom here. Well, if you got your transducer cable coming down here, it pinches it right here. I've ruined one doing that. So what I did, it's hard to see, but I'm not going to undo this until I have to take it apart again. Maybe I'll show that in another video. But what I had to do is I just went to a hardware store and I got a metal, galvanized piece of metal, pipe that would fit over top of the shaft without too much space in between. And I cut about from here to here, so say about ½ inch or so, and so that way I could fit the cable in there. And I think I might have went 3/4 inch, because then I filled it up with silicone, and I put silicone on the bottom, on the inside, you know, the space between the collar, the metal collar, and here. And we don't have that issue anymore. I believe you have to find your own measurements to make sure it'll work, so when it pushes up, it'll still lock. And this does, it's just right. So you have to find your own distance. I'm not sure if they're all the same. This one I think is about 3/4 of an inch. And that's been working really good. So now when I pull it up, I have no worries that I'm gonna pinch that cord. And that was one of my best upgrades for this trolling motor, because you pinch that cord, you're done. You can't use that transducer anyway. But then, you know, just ran it up. This is all black silicone, marine grade silicone. Well, it doesn't have to be marine grade, but that's what I used, you know, and up through. And I didn't even run it in through the head here. Okay, all I did was ran it up right to here. There's actually even a little bit of a piece here that, you know, you can just, right there. Zip ties, I put, I didn't put tape up here, but I put electrical tape around here with the zip tie on it to protect it. And I probably should do that here too, to protect the cable. But then I just ran it down through here and then down in there. Okay, and then the other thing with the trolling motor is I like to wire it directly. I don't like to use those plugs. I feel like there's too much that can happen. One plug goes wrong, it's not going to work right. Something goes, you know, the wire, the connection, it comes apart. It shouldn't if it's done right, but if it does, well, then now you got to fix it. So I wire it directly. So that's why my trolling motor is working, but it's supposed to be plugged into here. But I didn't do that. I wired it directly. So that's why these are all going in there. I like to use these to protect the wires and keep them organized. Back to that collar again. To get this collar on, you have to, slide the shaft all the way out through this mechanism out, which means you have to take all this stuff off. That's no big deal, but then you got to take off the head, and that's not so bad either. It's just got a couple of screws. You got 4 screws holding on the head here, and then you got some screws on the inside. Just pop it off, and then you got this guy right here. Or you can access it from the other side, but it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Make sure make sure you have some help, because this bottom can get heavy. I have a couple of buddies in here helping me too. We have Lennox, and then we have Stella. We both like to play. So hearing any moving around and fighting, that's them. But yeah, so it's straightforward. That's just what I've done with my trolling motor, and it's worked for me, and I have 0 issues with it. Other than that, the only thing I had done is I brought it into Shields, and they did a full tune-up on it. They took the motor apart, cleaned it out, new seals, made sure everything was all good. It's running great. It actually really wasn't that expensive either. The Shields up here, they have a servicing department that services Minn Kota products, so that worked all great. If you got a place like that, if your Shields are or anywhere near you, maybe every once in a while, like maybe every year or two, depending on what you put your trolling motor through, bring it in, have them take a look at it, pull it apart. Sometimes those seals go, water gets in, and that can really screw up things in the bottom there. So I'm not an expert. I just know what they told me and what I've seen and have experienced. So if you got something like this, give that a shot. This is a 36 volt, 112 pound thrust trolling motor. So what I need is 3 12 volt batteries, and so I bought some batteries. It's gonna be hard to see because I got stuff in here. What I've got is 3 of these guys here. They're Duracell batteries, and they have been great for me. Haven't had any issues with them. They're the AGM. Let's see here, what size are they? I think that's 31 group. AGM, Marine and RV. Yep, 31 group. I don't know if you can see that down there, but these are great. And when I use them, I don't just power my trolling motors off them. I run my electronics, and the electronics I have are older. They don't take up a lot of power, but I will not run anything to my starting battery for the motor, for the big motor. I will not run anything to that. I just want to make sure I've got the power there to start my motor, and I don't want to have to worry about jumping it or anything like that. And not putting anything to it clears that issue. So I do run my 2 Talons off of 1 battery. I run 2 electronics depth finders off of another battery, and then I run my other 2 off of the 3rd battery. Very simple. I don't put everything all on one. I do it evenly. That interstate battery, that's my starting battery. That's 1 trolling motor battery that you see. The other 2 is, one is here, down here, and it's underneath that plastic compartment there. And the other one is in the same spot underneath there. So that's why I didn't show you guys. I don't really feel like taking it out. But the other thing that I like to do is have extra props. So I've got 1 extra prop. I mean, it's not a stainless steel high performance prop, for the big motor, but it's an extra one I keep in the boat along with the hub kit, just in case. And then trolling motor prop, I have an extra one of those too, and you know, the pin and everything. So that way something happens, you're covered. And luckily I haven't had to utilize any of those yet, but I don't know. Anything can happen out there, and you want to be prepared. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this one. Just want to give you guys some tips on how I set up my trolling motor, how I power it, the batteries, and all that stuff. So, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.